Now, after you have the tire off, you're going to want to have a partner get into the car with the car turned on, have them apply pressure to the brake pedal, and while they are doing that, you're going to want to go ahead and break the connection of the nut on the wheel hub.
This is the damper fork right here. Okay, this is your shock absorber, and down here is your control arm. I don't know if you can see my hand, but this is the control arm. The control arm is, and the damper forks are held together by this big long bolt. So what we're going to do is realize that chapter 10 says that you need to support right here the wheel up in the air, because these springs are pushing down forcefully on these forks. If you're pushing down on the forks and then you release this nut, well, you're going to have a jerk action and could be dangerous. So you need to support the wheel up. We've already done this, but we're going to go ahead and go through the motions. Now, what we did in order to relieve this pressure, of course, we jacked it up just a touch. You'll know when you can do it, because as you see this, look over here first. There's a nut on this side of the fork right here. Alright, I loosened it already with the ratchet. Now here it is. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to punch this out like this, if I can find a hammer. I'm just going to punch it like this with a regular hammer. First I get it up to this spot right there. Once it's inside that little hole there, that big hole, I'm going to push it all the way through. Okay, now what we've got is we've got this bolt. You see, you can tell how it doesn't want to come out just by bare hand. So you have to manipulate this jack to a level that will loosen the control arm enough to line up with this with the forks, so that they'll come out. The bolt will come out easy. There you go. All you have to do is just play with it. Again, these are the forks, and sometimes they're twisted and not lined up perfectly because of the strut is not aligned very good. Anyway, here's the bolt. Took it out. This is the damper forks. They are now disconnected from the lower control arm. What the instructions want us to do next is disconnect the damper forks from the shock absorber. Notice, shock absorber's got the spring, but now it's hanging freely and there's no pressure on the springs. So we come around here, and here's the nut that is only one bolt right here that is it's grooved in a way into the strut. So I already loosened it with the ratchet, and here it comes out. When you do take this out, sometimes the hold from the strut on the damper fork is so tight that you can't get it off. Alright, the instructions say that you need to separate the shock absorber from the lower control arm. The lower control arm, however, is attached to a stabilizer bar. This stabilizer bar will not release tension enough for you to release the fork. So you have to remove this lower control arm from the stabilizer bar. In order to do that, you need to jack up the wheel over here. Jack up the wheel like this so it'll be nice and loose. Hold it steady with this crescent wrench. You use whatever you want to use, and then just ratchet it loose right there. Ratchet it loose, take the nut off. The bushings might pop off on their own later with tension, and then of course remove this. Once that is removed, then all you have to do is lower the wheel. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to remove the tie rod from the wheel hub right here. We do that by removing with the castle nut underneath the tie rod. We'll set that aside, and then we go and rent this tie rod separator, and we jam it under here. Pry the boot up a little bit so you can stick the fork underneath there. Then you jam it in there a little bit, and then hit it with a hammer, and it'll slowly separate it. And there you go. Now that we've done that, then all we have to do is turn the wheel hub around so that we can see we can pull out the CV axle. You use a center punch it out. It freely gets unstaked out of there. So okay, now that we've removed we've unstaked it, and the steering wheel, we're gonna, now that we got the wheel hub out of the way, you can see that the axle is already
The asshole.
excellent. You're mean. What we did here is we installed this press. This is called a puller. In fact, it's called a tie rod puller. The instructions ask for you to leave the castle nut intact. As you can see, it's not there right now, but I removed it because I've already done the job. And as you tighten it and tighten it and tighten it, the ball joint is in there so tight, which is why we need the puller in the first place. Once it reaches a point where it's reached its limit, it pops out, and it's a loud pop, almost a little disturbing. And then what you do is you just lift this out like this. As you can see, my axle is already removed from the hub. It came out already, and once you do that, you pull it out of the way. Next, we're gonna go ahead and remove the CV joint from its housing right there. It calls for you to remove it with a pry bar or a large screwdriver. We yanked on it, and then we just pulled on it. It really didn't take that much, but you want to be careful anyway. It's got a rubber seal right there. You don't want to damage that. So it comes out, not too much involved in that.